It's good to be in the house of the Lord one more time. Now, one day is promised to us, and when we lay down at night, the next morning is not promised. And it's a good thing to wake up 6 feet above the ground. And I give God honor each and every day for that. Our word today is going to come from Isaiah 43:2. Isaiah 43:2. I'll be reading from the NIV version, and it simply reads, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." And I like verse 3 that says, "For I am the Lord your God." I've tagged this message today as trusting God when life is too hard. Trusting God when life is too hard. We certainly know about life being hard, each and every one of us. Especially with the virus living with us, still here with us. Lack of help in all businesses, from the IRS to the State Department to McDonald's and all of healthcare. Shelves are empty in the stores. Ships are sitting at the port and they can't come in to deliver their products. There's a decrease in truck drivers to deliver these products. And healthcare workers are walking out, either because of the vaccine mandate or from pure exhaustion. We all have experienced life as being too hard at times. There was a news report from April in 2001 about a missionary and her 7-month-old son was killed by a single bullet while they were traveling in an airplane. The Peruvian Air Force shot at the plane, mistakenly thinking it was carrying drugs and drug dealers. Well, it was carrying this missionary and her family. And they served God for dozens of years. This and other circumstances make you wonder, if God is good, why is life so unfair? All of us want to believe that we have the strength to keep going, even in the midst of seemingly impossible situations. But are we? How can we make it through difficult circumstances? How can we remain standing when all around us, our world is crumbling? For far too many people, the answer is to give up. In 1999, in the United States, 29,199 people ended their life through suicide. That's an average of 80 per day, 1 every 18 minutes. In 2019, the CDC report says that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death, claiming 47,500 people. Suicide ranks second leading cause of death among young people ages 10 to 34. And the fourth cause of death, ages 35 and 34. So much for believing that when life gets tough, the tough gets going. Events of life can hit us so hard that it's difficult to keep standing, let alone to keep going. Our hearts become troubled and fearful. But Jesus in 14:1 says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You trust in God, trust in me." This comes after Jesus predicts his betrayal and Peter's denial of him. He spoke these words because the disciples were fearful about these things that were going to occur. We all have become fearful in challenging times, and it's human nature. But what is expected to separate believers from non-believers is our hold on Jesus. Do you only know Jesus on Sunday? Or do you know him 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year? Do you have a firm grip on Jesus? Or do you hold on to an idea developed from your mind about Jesus? Is he good for all things or only for some things? You know, no one is immune from trouble. Crisis comes in all shapes and sizes. An unexpected illness, cancer, heart attack, stroke, COVID, the loss of a job, death, economic collapse, financial struggles, school shootings, unexpected pregnancies, drug and alcohol abuse in the family, divorce, food shortage. The struggles are endless. Like Job in 3:25-26, we could say, what I feared has come upon me. What I dread has happened to me. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest, but only turmoil. How is it possible to keep from being overwhelmed? Well, we need to listen to Jesus. You trust in God, trust also in me. So what does it mean to trust God? Put simply, it is to have absolute faith in God or entrust your life to his care. Trust is belief in action. In other words, trust is an action word. You can't say, I believe in God and I believe God, yet your life is filled with worry and anxiety. When we get to the end of our rope, don't tie a knot and hang on. Instead, let go and believe God will catch you just as he promised. There's a story about a famous French tightrope walker and acrobat. From 1824 to 1897, one of his greatest feats was walking a 110-foot tightrope suspended 160 feet above Niagara Falls. He walked across several times, and on one walk he went across with a wheelbarrow. He asked the spectators when he got to the other side if they believed he could do it again. They cheered, believing that he could do it. He asked if they believed he could do it with someone in the wheelbarrow. Everyone cheered, believing he could. He asked for a volunteer. And no one stepped forward. It was one thing to believe he could do it, but no one wanted to entrust their life in his hands across the falls on the high wire. Saints, if you trust God, then get in the wheelbarrow. God is with you. It's normal to feel alone and scared when all around you is falling apart and you see no hope, no light at the end of the tunnel. But with God, you can face any trial and overcome it because he gives you the power and the strength. When I think about God giving us the power and to give us the strength to overcome things in our lives, I think about a true story of a woman who got up one morning about 5 o'clock in the morning and went to the park to take a walk, as she did many times. This particular day, she decided that she would do another round. Instead of making it 1 mile, make it 2 miles today. It was in January when it was cold. And upon that second round, as she stepped off the curb, a truck turned the corner, hit her, knocked her down the street. Her life flashed before her. As she lay there and heard everyone came and said, the ambulance is coming, just hold on. Well, she went to the hospital, She had a fractured hip, a fractured pelvis. Was in a wheelchair and would be in a wheelchair for about 6 months. That's what the doctor said. She wouldn't be able to go to work. She was a single parent, and she wondered, 6 months in a wheelchair, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my rent, keep my lights, my water, gas on? How am I going to make my car payment? How am I going to buy food? Well, there were checks that wind up coming to the house because she believed God. And her prayer to God was, God, this is too big for me to handle. There's nothing I can do about this. I believe you, I trust you, and I will leave it in your hands. Checks began to come. Bills were paid. She called her landlord and told the landlord, I don't know how I'm going to pay you, but I will get your money to you. And the landlord said, you know I know about you and this God thing. Send the money when you get it. 6 months. Food came from people that she didn't believe even liked her. There was so much food. It was more food than when she went to the grocery store to buy food. Food that she would have to pack up and send down to Odyssey because it was so much food. This woman was me. You see, I know that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it is God who can do all things when you can't do it yourself. God knows what's going on with you, in you, and around you. And he will step in to help you. You see, God sees your situation, and he won't let you stay in that situation too long. In our text today in Isaiah 43:2, God was comforting his people and reminding them that he is their Redeemer, and he would be with them as he was when they left Egypt. You see, God will be with you also, as he was with you when you left your Egypt, your place of bondage, wherever that was. I don't know your Egypt. You know your Egypt. I know my Egypt. It can be Egypt of lies. It can be Egypt of stealing, Egypt of drugs or alcohol. But the water, the river, and the fire in our text represent afflictions, trials, and difficulties that we